Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Well, it's been a while since I've been making some videos, but it's time to begin again. What's been on my mind lately has been impermanence. You know, when you read Gurbani, the Guru always says, all these things of the world fall away. They turn to dust. And the Guru says, you know, that people have traded the diamond for the seashell. That what appears to be valuable is not the true thing that's valuable. So the question came in my mind, you know, what is it about impermanence that's beautiful? People avoid thinking about death. You know, we have a whole industry, a funeral industry, built on death rituals and avoiding dealing directly with death. Getting rid of the body as soon as possible. You know, even Gurbani says when someone dies, you know, people avoid the dead body and they cry out, ghost, ghost. There's this fear of death that seems to pervade cultures and societies. You know, in Leaves of Grass, Walt Whitman says, people say it is a great thing to be born. You know, everyone celebrates when a baby is born. But then he says, you know, it's a far, far greater thing to die. Why does he say it's a greater thing to die than to be born? Well, all physical forms don't last. Everything doesn't last. That new car that looks so beautiful that you really want, even your beautiful wife, husband, children, all these things, you know, everything passes, everything turns to dust. So there's this kind of desperation that comes of wanting to grab on to life and experience things to the fullest. But when we look at the whole arc of the life, through birth and life and death, we understand that death is just one side of the coin, that birth is the other side of the same coin. It's just one coin, and one side is death and one side is birth. All things come from God and all things go to God. All things. So in that knowledge of impermanence, in that awareness that things crumble away, that things don't last, there is an inherent sadness and an inherent suffering when we understand that everything that we love in life is going to fall away, and that even our own life is going to fall away, that all of this is very impermanent and transient. But we become so involved in living life that we lose our perspective and we avoid the things that seem to indicate death and decay and dissolution. We avoid those things because of the fear we have. And the fear is a fear of dying, a fear of not being anymore. But the message of Gurbani is very clear, which is that we don't die. It's just a change of state, you know? It's just like water. When you freeze it, it becomes a solid. When you heat it, it becomes a vapor. At normal room temperature, it's a liquid. It's the same thing with our consciousness, with our soul, with our awareness. It's a change of state from the incarnated state, you know, to the not incarnated state. But, you know, why is one state better or worse than any other state? I watched a movie a couple of weeks ago. It's called Fantastic Fungi. And it's a movie about yeast and mold and fungus. And what it talks about is it shows how everything is consumed and dissolved back into a state of non-matter. The matter is transformed. And it showed in the movie how the beauty of the dissolution and decay and returning the elements, the tattvas, back into the pool of unformed energy that we call nirgun. And that pool of unformed energy then becomes form again and becomes what we call sargun, which is the manifested forms of the creation. Now we know that, Ong and Kar are one. Ik Ong Kar. So the creative power and the manifested creation are one and the same. But one is invisible to our eyes and one is visible to our eyes. So that's the change of state we go through. We go through that change from manifested to unmanifested. But the beauty of it, the dissolving, the dissolution, is just as divine as the pulling together of the elements. When the baby is forming in the mother's womb and conception takes place, the plan begins. The program that's in the DNA starts to unfold itself and manifest itself through the creation of the tissues in the body. And that process of forming life out of elements is just as beautiful as that process of dissolving life back into its elements. It's all just a play of the elements. So in that beauty and understanding, what's the saying? When a child is born, everyone laughs and is happy, and when someone is dying, everyone cries and is sad. But when the saint is born, he cries inside that he had to come back to this samsara, this physical plane, this place of play and illusion. And then when it's time to go home, the saint is infinitely happy. And so the saint comes with tears and leaves with laughter. It's just the opposite of how most people treat birth and death.